Hi Leo, welcome to your April 2018 General Tarot Forecast. This is Rena, and so I'm going to be doing a spread, and for the challenge position I'm going to be picking a card from my other deck, the Wild Unknown Tarot. Well, I have more than two, but for most of this it's going to be the Rider-Waite deck. And the light is very weird, so I don't know. Oh well. It's very strange shadows that are being cast here. And, okay, this is the point when I'm supposed to do the shadow. This is like the, you know, the challenge position. And the reason I'm doing that, I saw sometimes the other readers will incorporate more than one deck in a reading, and I thought about it. I thought that's very interesting because you talk about the law of averages, and if you get the same card, I mean, if that's ever possible, then that would be really cool. But it's just basically because I think of this deck as kind of like a shadow, you know, kind of like a shadowy kind of deck as it is, gothic and all that. It's really cool. I'm going to just do a plain reading with it one of these days again. I think it's really a nice thing a nice change of pace. Let's put it that way. Okay, let me just like put all these cards together because they're getting all messed up. All right. The heart of the matter is, see, this is that shadow. The Knight of Pentacles. So this could just simply be that you're really in work mode. The Knight of Pentacles is a card of a persistent, you know, diligent, applied energy when it comes to material acquisition of resources. You know, somebody who's really wanting, maybe very driven for that kind of outcome, and you may be saving for a specific thing, or, you know, a lot of Leos are workaholics anyway, it seems like. So it's not that this would necessarily deviate from your normal behavior. This could be a person who is a Taurus. And Taurus is connected to Knight of Pentacles. Remember that it could be something other than the sun sign. I think some people don't understand why we say this, but I'm Taurus rising. My sun is in Sagittarius. If you first meet me, you might think I was a Taurus. You might think I was a lot different than I really am. But so those types of people, there's always going to be that thread of, if whoever this person is, just practicality, dependability, constancy. You know, that's a big one with Taurus, is that they're consistent. And, you know, depending on what kind of personality they are, they could be consistently, you know, obnoxious or consistently nice to be around. So it does have like a very practical vibe, and a very earthy, tangible, you know, wanting to build, like a building kind of an energy. What crosses you? It's funny. Well, here's another Pentacles, and we're talking about the Four of Pentacles. See, that's, let me see if this shadow. The Four of Pentacles in the upright position is about financial stability and things like that. Now, in the challenge position, for some it can be a lot of money problems. So maybe, or even just an obsession with making money. So that could apply either way. Either you are someone who is, now this could be this person though. So if this is somebody else, you may see good qualities in this person, but perhaps they have a problem keeping money, saving money. They just spend everything that they get. They're a spendthrift, or they are just, they have money, they're in debt, you know, and that is creating a lot of problems for them. Now, you would think that the Knight of Pentacles would be this really together kind of person financially, but this could be just their sign. And so even people who are a Taurus, for instance, who have a sun in Taurus, not every Taurus person is going to be responsible when it comes to money. You know, especially if they have a lot of Aries, I would say they may have that impulsivity, where they spend everything, you know, it burns a hole in their pocket, and they just are very rash with money. Aries is very generous, but also just likes to spend. So that could be one thing, or just very overly materialistic. And yes, we have this card too, which kind of goes along with that. The heart of this situation is the Devil card. But really, one thing I want to just point out, if this is a different person, this could be the fact that you naturally attracted such a person. A lot of, it's kind of interesting to me when somebody says, somebody used me for my money. I guarantee you that 9 out of 10 people who are victim to that, they themselves are materialistic. And this is one of the reasons why they attracted that situation, because they didn't see anything abnormal about the person's preoccupation with material objects, with, you know, all those things. It was only when the person left that they began to put two and two together. But while it was happening, they thought it was just perfectly natural. And other people, it would raise alarm bells. If somebody was very, you know, was always like talking about money and, you know, wanting them to buy them something, then that would kind of like tip off other people. But for a materialistic person, it's like, yeah, that's what life is all about. So they wouldn't think anything was strange. But this, if we're looking at it from your point of view, if this is all about you, Leo, it could be a scenario where maybe you're in debt. Maybe you are somebody, Leo people tend to love to have nice things, you know. So you may just be a spendthrift. And so you're constantly trying to keep your head above water. You may look like you're like totally affluent, but it's all for show. And really you're just struggling to keep up with your bills. And so you're working a lot, but that is also taking a toll on your life in different ways. You know, you may not have time to devote to personal relationships. You may be burning out physically from, you know, maybe working so much. And the Devil is talking about that compulsion to do things that lead to ruin, you know, physical ruin, financial ruin, relationships being destroyed because you can't invest time in them. And another thing too is one of those relationships where it's like pay to play. I don't know how else to say it, but it's like one person, it's like the sugar daddy, sugar mama relationship, where one person is in it for the physical, one person's in it for the wallet. And so the Devil card is there to say that there's like these compulsive behaviors behind it. You know, overspending is compulsive, excessive sex is compulsive behavior, and that can lead to, you know, not having the balanced life that you probably would rather have, but maybe you don't know how to get. The spiritual message is the 5 of Wands. So this is like a dog-eat-dog environment. Again, with your workplace, if you're subjecting yourself to that kind of environment in order to make, because you can make a lot of money in that environment, the stress could have an impact on you eventually, or maybe it already has, if you are if you're in a relationship where it's conditional, where you know, it's pay for play, then you may find that there is a lot of drama in that relationship, that there's not a lot of harmony between the two of you, because actually that you know, that relationship may be simply an arrangement. If you're honest about it, it may be more of a situation where it's like you give to me this, I give to you that, and then everything else about the relationship is kind of not happening, and therefore the people are at odds with one another, because they know, the two parties know that there's no real love there. It's just all, it's all the sense of using one another. And by the way, I mean, if both people are honest about it, I don't see what the big deal is, but it will you'll tend to sell your soul, because you have to, it's almost like this charade where you have to like just keep maintaining appearances, but behind the scenes, it's really, there's nothing there. And it's coming in as anxiety. So this is like the card of the angst card. But they always point out, you see those flowers on the person's, are those flowers? Yeah, I guess they're roses. It's saying, yeah, oh, look, see, now it's in focus, finally. It's saying that what's happening is that the person is over emoting. They're making too big a deal out of it. And so why would somebody do that? Well, sometimes people, they simply are unhappy, but they don't know, they feel like kind of like stuck. For I think with Leo, it's more of, because Leo's a fixed sign, you tend to procrastinate when it comes to like making changes in your life. You just prefer, it's like that Knight of Pentacles being Taurus. It's a fixed sign too. You like routine, you like the known quantity, and anything that would ask you, gosh, you know, this isn't really, you know, look at, you're staying up all night, you're fighting all the time. What are you doing in this relationship? You know, life is short. If you keep up with this situation, and this could be a workplace situation too, you know, don't you think it's going to impact your health, your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual well-being? But the person, while they want to change the situation, it's almost like they fear the unknown even more than they fear the known stressful situation. And the outcome is the, we'll do it this way, Page of Wands. So as the month begins, there's a Mercury retrograde, and it's happening in Aries, you know, which is one of the wands. So maybe the reset button gets pressed around mid-month, when there's going to be, when Mercury goes direct on the same day there's a new moon in Aries. So this energy of the Aries and the Aries transits are happening in your 9th house of higher education, foreign travel, your, you know, God philosophy, your philosophical framework, how you view what, you know, your life and its purpose. And so you use that, just like in the 6th house, we use the daily routine as a skeleton for like kind of like this outline for, or framework for what we want to do, accomplish within one day. the same applies to the ninth house, I would say, because it's more of a philosophical way, what our values are, you know, what we believe to be true about life and why we're here, and putting that into action. And so you may be kind of, this could be like a dark night of the soul too, where you're just really, and that can be really good. It's interesting because the Ten of Swords, this is the Nine of Swords, but the Ten of Swords is the card of hitting bottom. I think with the Nine of Swords, it's finally admitting to yourself that things are not okay. And while some people say, oh, that's what a terrible card the Nine of Swords is, no, because otherwise you may be still caught up in some drama that has no real, it's not going to have a real resolution. And you don't want to, you know, wake up 10 years from now with an even worse relationship and then thinking, oh my God, I just sacrificed 10 more years with this person who's just draining me. And with the Page of Wands as the outcome, you may, the Mercury going direct, because pages can be messages and messages can be Mercury, in Wands, which is fire, that could be that turning point where it switches on within you, this sense of, yeah, you know what? I'm going to be okay, and maybe you're even going to have an opportunity to travel with a new moon in the ninth house, and that may be the thing that kind of gets you away from a negative environment. Also, the Page of Wands can be any message that you receive in April that gives you hope, gives you like an enthusiastic response, and in some cases you may be starting a new relationship with somebody who is a fire sign, Sagittarius, fellow Leo, Aries, or a new job. Pages are beginnings of something, but this is something, I would say, if it's a new job, it might even be more something that you create for yourself, some kind of a new business, because the Wands kind of relate to more entrepreneurial things rather than working for somebody else, like the Knight of Pentacles would. So whatever happens, it ends on a good note, and that's all that matters. Okay, Leo, I hope that you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, please visit my website. The link is below. Take care. Bye.